I heard that there's love at first sight in a business sense. So we love hearing that. I heard there was some great team matchmaking going on, and for some, it was about just getting more ideas. So I think we fulfilled our objectives as far as really getting people to talk about the ideas, get feedback, and develop some new partnerships. So we're glad to hear that. So today, our objective is to take our business planning to the next level and improve your pitch. So for some of you, it might mean that you're going to be pitch ready to go in front of investors by the end of the day. For some others, it might mean that you're just going to have a really strong pitch so that you can pitch that to your friends and family and take your pitch to the next level. So without further ado, we're going to have Mo and Oliver take the stage.
This is important and this is top. I'm coming. Yes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for coming so early on a Saturday. I know nobody loves that, and I bet many of you are thinking like me right now, show me the bed, show me the pillow. But we're really excited today because, yesterday you showed a lot of energy. It was great, to see how all of you were discussing your ideas and getting feedback and taking this to the next level. And for this session, we just want to show you what's really possible and that nothing is beyond reach. And this is going to be all about this session, that you guys got great ideas. You have to take it to the next level. You have to believe in yourself. And you can also see how many people from Hult did this before that came out of this community. So the way I want to start it, I want to start with two stories today. And, I was thinking maybe one in the beginning, but you guys came early, so I wanted to give you a freebie. Just go bonus, go for it. So two is better than one. And the first one is actually about Disney. How many of you don't know Disney? Right? This is a silly question, right? It's a lot better than asking how many know Disney, right? So the story of this guy is really fascinating because how it started, Walt Disney, he was actually going to Griffith Park in Los Angeles with his wife and with his kids. And he was having a great time, but he was thinking, you know what? I'm tired of seesaws. I'm tired of people walking around and doing nothing. I want to actually go to a park and do something, right? I want to get entertained. So he had a crazy idea. He wanted to build a park. And he was well off, right? He didn't, he wasn't really in need of a lot of money. So he's doing okay. But at the same time, he thought, you know what? This is the time that I go take my vision and make it happen. So what's fascinating about this story is that he wanted to research what's the best place in the US for a park. So he actually outsourced that to Stanford Institute of Research. He came back to him a couple months later and he said, the best place would be 160 acres near Los Angeles. But then he had no money, right? He had this great idea, big dream, he had no money. And then he said, okay, now it's time to go out and get some funding. So he went out to banks, financial institutions. He tried every single person that had some cash. Anybody want to guess how many tries he had? How many banks he had to talk to before he actually could get some funding? Well, a little bit up. How many? A little more. Who said 300? Well, you're the closest. 360 banks, right? And then actually, after 360, the bank didn't give him money. But then he had a brilliant idea. He said, you know what? I'm going to talk to ABC, the television show network. And he told them, give me the money, I'll build a park, and I'll give you rights to a television show. And we're going to do all of these great characters that are going to get everybody entertained. And in return, just give me all the money, and we're going to make this great park happen. What's really fascinating is that after it took off, he wanted to do this again in Florida, right? This time he had a lot of money, and he was working with his brother, Roy Disney. But the problem is that he had a lot of health problems, and right before it was about to go live in 1966, he died. And one of my favorite quotes about the story when the press was going to talk to Roy about the opening, the brand opening in Florida, he asked him, you know, it's really too bad, one of the reporters talked to Roy, and he said, it's really too bad that, you know, Walt Disney didn't get to see it. And then Roy said, sir, I think you're confused. It's because he saw it first that you're seeing it right now, right? And I think all of you came today, Saturday in the morning, you know, really early in the morning when you really need to sleep and you have a lot of things to do because you see yourselves as entrepreneurs. Sooner or later, you want to take your ideas and make it happen. You want to go more beyond than just going out and getting enough money and getting by. You want to really take your idea and make a legacy, create a legacy for yourself and for others. The second story is, I don't know which one is my favorite, they're both great. But let me start you off with this. Does anyone have any idea why this guy looks like Santa?
Because you look like Santa.
Well, yes, but that's true. But I don't know if, how really, you know, how much he really looked like Santa, but the real reason why he actually really old in this logo, when they can have somebody who's more energetic, really young, you know, convey the brand image a lot better, is because this guy decided to take his business national across the US when he was 60 years old. Can you believe that? You know, you say, okay, I'm 60, it's about time that I retire. I just go and get my severance, and this guy says, no, I'm taking it national, right? I'm gonna build this crazy chain of restaurants, and you know, that's not enough for me. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make big success out of it. But what's really great about this is that he had compelling reasons. What happened is, he was a guy from, you know, from small town in Kentucky. I think the town was Corbin, right? In 1935, he had his little restaurant, and he had great recipe. Everybody knew him for great cooking skills, right? And he actually was honored as colonel in 1935, right? That's why they call him Colonel Sanders, right? And then he said, you know what, I got my little restaurant, it's great, and he was serving mainly the people that are going across to Florida. But then, you know, stuff happens. There's an interstate road that was being built at that time, and they drove him out of business because everybody was taking the new road, right? But then, you know, you see this guy, he's 60 years old, he's got no money, he's got no restaurant, and guess what? His pension was 10 bucks. 10 bucks back then was not enough. I know it's a lot of money, but it was not enough. So I had two choices. Take the money, you know, I don't know, try to get some money from people and, you know, get by. I'm 60 years old, what can I do, right? Or I can take a car, drive across the nation, try to convince people to go in business with me because I got the greatest recipe in the world and I'm gonna make stuff happen. So what's really fascinating about this, you know, one of my favorite things is how he actually could get the resources for living by when he was, you know, driving across America. He had no money, and then he goes in a white shirt, right, white pants, starched, look funny, talk to restaurants, tell them, you know what, I get the best chicken in the world, right? You need to get in business with me and give me 10% of your revenue, and then nobody would believe him. You know, they would say, this guy's crazy, what are you talking about? I got the best chicken here. So he goes, really? Prove it. And then he comes with chicken, right? And then he starts eating it. And this is how he got all these meals. He was eating from restaurant to restaurant, all the chicken of other restaurants because he had no money and he had to get some food. So he's just go and try to convince him and get, you know, get some freebies, free meals in the way. Anybody want to guess how many restaurants he had to talk to before he actually found somebody that would go in business with him?
360.
160? A little bit more? Well, you're right on the mark. It's actually 1,005. 1,005 restaurants. And then somebody finally said, you know what, I like your recipe, I'm willing to risk it, I'm willing to go in business with you. And he was 60. So, you know, the moral of the story is your time is now, right? If you think you're too young, or too old, you don't have money, you know, you don't have a great idea, forget about all that, right? You want to do something big now. This guy was 60, he didn't know what he wanted to do, and he said, you know what, I gotta, it's just not about getting by. I want to go and get my dream a reality, and I got the great recipe, and I have to, I have to use it. It's truly one of the, my favorite stories, because nobody really, when you go get fried chicken, nobody really looks at the biography and see how these guys made it happen. So, how many of you, let me ask you this, how many of you thought that, my idea are not the best idea yesterday, and I'm not really sure about pitching it? Okay. Only 3? Wow, you guys are confident. That's the spirit. Great. Well, let me tell you this. For all the people who thought that they don't have the best ideas, some of the craziest ideas out there, whether it looks silly or not, they actually work. And they make millions of dollars. I don't know if you know this, but, so the first one is I wear your t-shirt. The guy who thought, you know what, I'm gonna go to corporations, I'm gonna convince them to give me their brand, put it on a shirt, I'm gonna walk across America and put it on some social media, and this is how I'm gonna build my company. It's just personal branding for companies. This guy's making $500,000 this year. All what he does, get the brand, put it on a shirt, walk around, put it on YouTube, put it on social media, and that's it. It's all marketing. And he's making $500,000. Who here thinks that pets need glasses? All right? This company's called Doggles. And then the idea of the guy was, okay, you know what? We have a lot of great dogs in America. We need them to roll in style, right? Everybody needs, not only humans, dogs need sunglasses as well. And let me tell you, Doggles is making $1 million this year. If you didn't think that this is silly enough, I don't know if you know Pet Rock, and this is one of the most controversial ideas I've ever seen in my life. This guy said, you know what? There's so many people who got pets, and pets are, I don't know, it's a lot of maintenance. You have to feed them, you have to clean them, you have to, walk them. Forget about that. I'm gonna sell people rocks. I'm gonna convince them that a rock is a better pet than dogs. I don't know about you, but all the ideas I heard yesterday was a lot more reasonable to me than this idea. So, it's crazy. All what he does, he puts some, accessories on the rock and puts some little eyes and make him cute. And here's your pet. Your rock, loyal. You don't need to clean it. It's gonna love you forever. This is your pet. Anybody want to guess how much money this guy's making? Any wild number? Come on, let's hear it. $5 million? Well, a lot more than that. He's making $14 million this year. 14 million. I'm not kidding you. Look it up, right? So, I don't know. Let's take a look at this guy. This guy actually is not the craziest idea, but to me, when I looked at this guy, which is Santa Mail, I thought, there's no need for this. There's no niche. And if you thought that there's no niche for pet rocks, there's definitely no niche for Santa Mail. Santa Mail is all about, you know what, people, parents, they got no time, and we want to make sure that kids believe in Santa. So we're going to sell services to just write some custom letters to kids. This is your letter from Santa, Merry Christmas. That's all he does. Write a customized letter. He's not making as much money as Pet Rock, but you want to guess how much money he's making? It's literally, if you look it up online, it's a website. It says, put in your email. We're going to send your Christmas mail this year. That's it. That's the business. If you don't think this is crazy, he has no assets, no inventory, no nothing, right? He just sits on a computer, writes a letter, make it look nice, and he sent it to people. He sent 500,000 letters. Sells a letter at $10. Well, it's quite a good living, isn't it? I mean, you're making a lot of money, you're not taking a lot of your time, and it's a silly idea, or many people would deem it as crazy or silly, it'll never work. So really the message that we want to give you today is no matter how crazy your idea seems to be, no matter how silly it may seem, or it doesn't, you don't think there is a market for it, no matter how much you think that this is not going to work, or you have doubts or fears, you can make anything work with the right marketing, with the right mindset, the right operations, with the right resources, and this is what the boot camp is about. Today, it's all about teaching you how. This is no longer a magic wand. It's not like you have the best idea in the world and that's why you're making money. It's not happening. Maybe that happened in centuries before, where there was no competition. I just got an idea, and nobody invented the light bulb, or nobody invented cars. This is not happening anymore. Right now it's all about competition. And it's a science, and people know how to go about building their businesses, and it's all about, this is what today is all about. It's all about knowing how to go about building your business. So go for it, play full throttle, just don't hold back, right? And we want you to get away from this session with the mindset that everything is possible. I don't know, but if this guy can make money, anyone here can make money using their ideas. And now Oliver is gonna tell us about
and what's coming out here now? I mean, you might ask cool, crazy ideas, but also Hult has a lot to offer, had a lot to offer in the past. So you might know that it's from the recruiting thing. We have 5% entrepreneurs out of our community each year. So out of 2,000 grads worldwide on our 6 campuses, we have 5%. It's quite a good number. So I think it's a good chance that one of you, because you're a very selected group now, is among them. And yeah, actually, that's only a short list of those people who really made it here in the area from our last years. So you might know Globify Me, you heard of Alex Mason, or you might have heard of Pinstad. I think there was a lot of buzz around here in the beginning of the semester. A couple of others, you can have a look. Do you know the Hult GEN? That's a website done by, I think, graduates from 2 years back, and they collect all the Hult startups and write about them. They have a bi-weekly newsletter about one of the startups, how they are doing. So if you're interested, check that out. I'm not going to talk about all of them, because I think we have heard a lot about entrepreneurs, but take a look there. They have a list of companies that really came out of Hult, and I think it's quite interesting and good. Well, something to look up to. So let's build, guys. And just to give you a short introduction, what's going to happen today. So we're going to have little inputs. We don't want to lecture you or anything, because I think that's the school's job, not our job. But what we want to make sure is that everybody has some guidance on, okay, where do I have to focus now? I mean, you all had a lot of discussions going on. What we first want to make sure is that you really finalize your BMC. We give you half an hour for that. I think everybody worked on it already yesterday, so it's just in your team. You're going to be in the room you've been yesterday. So whoever is now the team captain, or they have, you know where your room is. You can show it again if you want, and just make sure you finalize your BMC. You bring in the people that you want to work with today. I think that's another important thing. I mean, you all know that it's not easy to find a team member or like co-founders, and I just want to assure you that many people look for 18 months or even longer to find the right co-founder. So if only a few teams of you found one of the co-founders, and you're going to do that eventually, then that's a huge gain already. And for everybody else who feels, hey, that's a cool idea, but I'm not really sure, I think just give it a try today. You don't have to marry the idea or the persons on your team. That's all good. I think there's a lot of learning in there, and a lot of help we can provide for each other. So yeah, we're gonna come back here 10:30. We're gonna have the first first little input. Mike is gonna talk about monetization. Then we'll have Nick, our guest here, talking about strategic alliances and partnerships. I mean, really, all of these sessions are 10 to 15 minutes. It's about, okay, if you're a startup in this area, that's the really crucial point you have to be aware of. You know, and we have. I just sent out documents to all of you, so check your email. We have provided Word templates for each of these sessions. It comes with 3 or 4 questions. The questions you should be answering, and or like what we recommend you answer. And I think when you went through all these steps, you're much more concise on your idea already. And then when we move to the pitching stage, it's going to help you a lot. So we're going to have, our guest Nikos Sarilakis as a co-founder and marketing executive. Please come talk to him as well about his idea. He has a great startup. We're going to have a little lecture, a little input on sales, technology and design. He's a CTO and co-founder. Yeah, and then we're going to reconvene here at 10:30, right, Jess? So you have 25 minutes for your PMC.
Before you go, just a couple things. For all of the idea people, you should have some more documents if you haven't already. And for anybody that hasn't registered yet for today, please make sure you do register. So all the idea people will have documents with the worksheets that he's explaining. We put a lot of work into those worksheets, so if you could take some time to look through those documents and see what's available for you. Mavira, who's outside, she did some amazing research and made things really super easy for you all. So please take a look at that all. And want to thank AC for taking a look at those documents as well. He's going to be supporting us, many of us Hult students, through our startup process as well. So